Hi, it's John from positiveresolution.co.uk, and you're watching episode 9 of the Business Growth Weekly. Today, as usual, I'm joined by my good friend Stephen Swift from YorkshireMarketingBusiness.com. And I think, Steve, we're talking about success and whether or not it has to cost money today.
I believe that's the topic we decided we were going to go for, John. Absolutely.
It's certainly the one we've been talking about for the last 2.5 minutes, so it better be.
True. Otherwise, all these notes are just wasted.
Yeah, let's have a change.
Yeah, let's do something about blogging, shall we? Really throw it out the park.
So, success costs money? Question mark.
Question mark.
The all-important question mark.
Absolutely.
Do you want to answer the question?
Well, there's too many answers for me to cover them all, I think, John. But as always, I can always only base, obviously, what I mention or suggest or offer to these episodes as what I've had happen in my experiences in business, or people have mentioned to me what they've had happen. So yeah, I suppose I could say a little something about does success cost money? Yes or no? One example I'll give out the gate, which isn't my company, it's actually an IT company.
Mm-hmm.
And they needed to, in order to be a bit more of a game changer in their industry, offering IT solutions, support, etc., they had to make their systems run a lot more efficiently and effectively. And people power can only do so much before you have to start using technology to assist, I guess. And this company approached Hitachi to use one of their main systems to do all the archive storage digitally and their database and support to back up everything as well, which meant that they didn't have to upgrade a lot of their systems, which would have been a big outlay and cost a lot of money. So they didn't have to change all their IT systems to offer the services they had. So that didn't cost money in order to be more successful through offering a better service to their client base. But on the flip side of that, there was actually a cost because the service Hitachi was providing them cost money.
Yeah.
So in one moment, it wasn't going to cost them anything to be more successful, but then it followed up with actually, yes, there is. So I think you could bat this backwards and forwards all the time saying, well, this doesn't cost money to be successful, but if you do it this way or use that service from somewhere else, then it's going to cost money because nobody's going to do anything for nothing. No one's going to offer you a service or a product, whatever it is, for free.
Yeah.
Certainly not for the long term. They might give you a free trial of 14 days or whatever it might be, or a discounted rate, but there will still obviously be a charge somewhere along the line. There might be a lot of people shouting at this, video now saying you're talking out at the top of your head. I've been running a business now for X amount of years, made X amount of money, and it's never cost me a penny. So how much time have you spent becoming successful then to that person or the people that say that? Because your time has a value to it. So I think the answer to the question, does success cost money? The answer is yes, but it depends on how you measure that level of success with regards to your time and the value you put on that, which you have to do to be realistic. If you don't factor in your time element of any business or company, then you're doing yourself out of a bit of a disservice there because you're not being true to yourself as to how profitable your business is when we start talking about balance sheets and profit and loss accounts, etc. I do apologise for that noise. I thought I had actually turned my phone on to silent. So for those that didn't know, yes, I do like Formula One.
It's better than your ringtone, anyway.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, John. So that's my bank very kindly just texting me through saying what the balance of the business account is. I'm not sure that screenshot. So yes, if you factor in obviously your time, then there's an instant cost there to the business to be successful. Even if you say, well, I'm only going to work at £1 an hour, there's still a cost. If you're only valuing your time at £1, then I would question the quality of your time.
Yeah.
To be fair.
You brought up an interesting couple of concepts there. The concept of invoicing yourself for your own time is something that I teach in time management workshops all the time.
And you thought you wouldn't
Because
be able to add anything to this
there,
topic
yeah,
discussion. And I said to you before we went live, I'll make sure that I say something that'll trigger in your mind. Hang on, I can add value to this episode, darn it.
strap yourself in. This could take some time, right?
I'm going to go and cut the grass.
The idea that you can invoice yourself and set yourself a value to your own time within time management is a great concept, because you suddenly start to say, well, I value my own time at £100 an hour. That's not what I invoice people, but my own time in my own mind, I value at £100 an hour. Now, what that means is every single minute of the day is worth £100 an hour. So if I'm sat around not doing much watching television, every hour of television I watch has cost me £100. Now, do I really want to be sat watching The X Factor, or do I want to be doing something else with that time? So that concept, once you get your mind around it, is a very valuable one, and particularly within a business working day. And I'm going to come on to in a minute, what is your definition of success? But in a business working day, if you're not splitting your time where you can get back, the majority of your time is based around getting back that £100 an hour from somewhere, presumably in fees or sales, then you're wasting your time. And not only are you wasting your time, you're costing yourself money. You're robbing yourself of £100 an hour. So that enables you then to split your day and decide at the beginning of every day, once you've done your task list or however you want to do that, you can look down that list and say to yourself, which exercise, which task is going to drive that amount of money into this business? And they're the tasks that you should be spending the majority of your day on. All the other stuff, you either do when you've done the first lot, or you outsource it somewhere else so that you don't need to worry about it and you can concentrate on the things that are going to bring you the money in. Which, at the end of the day, everyone who's running a business, the bottom line is the bottom line, you know. So I think that's a great concept. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it's very important. And the other thing that I just alluded to there was, my first answer to does success cost money is it depends what your definition of success is. Now, within business, yes, success is about money and financial measurement and everything else. But here's a question for you, Steve. How many times have you met people who, in business, are extremely successful, but in other areas of their life are completely dysfunctional? You see, I've met quite a few people like that. Steve's gone very quiet, but I've met quite a lot of people like that. And to me,
some people will be shocked, actually, John, that I've gone very quiet.
Yeah, don't be naming any names, but
Write it on a piece of paper then and just hold it up to the webcam.
as long as it's not my name, we're okay.
Does that still get me caught? Oh, nice.
But the point is, if you, I don't know about anybody else watching this, but when I started working for myself, there was a number of reasons for it, and one of those things was I wanted a level of control for myself, but also I wanted a level of balance to my life, which I wasn't getting elsewhere by putting in huge amounts of hours for other people and not getting the return that was going to enable me to do other things with my life. Because there's always a price to pay. It might not be financial, but there is always a price to pay. Like Steve just said, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So when I meet people, and I meet quite a lot of people in my line of work, as does Steve, who consider themselves to be highly successful because their businesses run highly successful, their income level is fairly high. But then you look at the rest of their life and you just think, this is chaos. They're not successful. They've sacrificed their life for money. And I think that's another concept that's an interesting one to get your head around, because the majority of what we're going to be talking about today is success in business and financial success. But keep in mind there's another aspect to this, which is you don't want to sacrifice the rest of your life, because the rest of your life is what you're going to remember. On your deathbed, you're not going to say, I'm glad I made those millions, because they're going to stay where they are. And you can leave them to your kids, but your kids are going to hate you if they never saw you. So I don't know. What's your view on that, Steve?
Yeah, I think great way of describing the difference between a financial success and a lifestyle success. I resonate very much with what you said about, you might be able to leave your millions or your thousands or your hundreds or whatever it is, or a car or a suit or a bit of jewelry, whatever, to your kids. But if that's come at the price where they never really got to know you or spend quality time with you and feel the love that you have, I won't go too deep, obviously, on this, but you get the idea that there's going to be resentment there, and you can't buy love, you can't buy time with people. You have to make the most of what you have, and I speak from experience, I guess. I learned the hard way with regards to this. The first company I set up with a very good friend of mine, still is. I traded my home life for that of a business. Some people are probably calling me every name under the sun now, and I deserve that. There was other people around me, family and friends, that said, really successful guy. You're making a lot of money in the business. We were turning over an absolute fortune in the business that we're in. But that came at a price, and it was a price of time away from the home, time away from the family, and I've taken time away from my own life due to the fact that what I put myself through after what I'd put my family through. So, I was always putting others first. Unfortunately, I actually did choose that my family life had to revolve around my business life, and I'm not proud about that. It's difficult for me to say it out loud, but I've come to terms with that through a very, very good guy that's helped me put the past behind me through some consultation, and he's not a million miles away. And if anybody's unsure, look at your screen on what will be your left-hand side, and that's the guy that's helped me get to where I am today and put that behind me.
Thank you.
Endorsement for you there, John.
Thank you very much.
And of course, if I start twitching like this, people will think that it's all not really very good, but no, I'm not going to do that. Joking aside. But I realised that there was actually a serious, obviously, point making here, that you have to make a choice. Do you want to be financially successful and not have a private life? Or do you want to have some success, but be very successful with regards to the freedom and the lifestyle that you have for you and that of your family and friends and your peers and people around you? If you can get the balance right on both, then I think you have done very well. And that's where I've gone since I left the last company, which is still running today. I stepped down as a director from that company and stepped away from that complete industry to continue with the marketing, because I like getting out there and marketing and helping people to gain more exposure, attract more sales opportunities, stop wasting time and money on advertising and brand awareness and marketing campaigns that don't work, and focus on them that do. And obviously, in turn, I obviously get endorsements from people to help them and one thing and another, and I share my knowledge and experiences with people so they don't have to jump all those hurdles to get the results which enable success to occur, which obviously I take them over all them hurdles kind of thing. So, and that's a nice feeling, and I now get more time with my family, so I get to see the kids growing up, spend time with my wife, which she likes it until I start nicking all like the Rocky Road things that she makes and cooks and the buns that she makes and that. So is it showing? Yeah, light lard. There's no such thing as light lard, is there, when you cook?
No, there's just lard.
You've met my wife. Anyway, so
here's one you want me playing in the house.
excuse you.
I've only seen her on the internet.
Hopefully the point came across there, So it's all that balance
Actually,
of
that sounded just as
time.
bad, didn't it? Have you met my wife only over the internet? Yeah.
But is it time that you're looking for and freedom and lifestyle, or is it commitment to your business? So therefore, you become an employee of
Mm,
of your company. You in effect set yourself up in a job
yeah.
where you don't have the freedom to do as you choose. Uh, you can't just go off and do something recreational. If you like fishing, if you like cycling, if you like golfing, if you like archery, if you like bird spotting, if you like just going to the south of France for a skiing trip when you feel like it, because your success from your business or your company has yielded you enough profit, not turnover, but profit, uh, and you have the time and flexibility because your business that you run enables you to have that flexibility to go, do you know what I can? And it's a topic we discussed a few episodes ago, John. What defines a business, and if your business is defined in such a way that it can still operate without you being present, so you can actually reap the rewards of being successful in business and generating money, and also that success bleeds into having flexibility and freedom just to go, do you know what? The business is still going to tick over nicely. It's still going to make me X amount of thousands this week without me even being here. Stuff it. I'm going to nip off and go and watch the Grand Prix in whatever country it might be in at the time, or I'm going to take the wife and kids away, which now schooling's a bit different. That can be a little bit awkward, but with all these extra fines they're now trying to come out with. But that's
Oh,
another
yeah.
political debate. We'll not go through that. If you join the army, you can actually do it quite easily, but obviously there's downsides to going into the army sort of thing. There's not quite the same freedom there. So we're not going to go off topic. That'll open a whole can of worms, and I'll get hate mail, no doubt. So the army, all the forces, I think do a phenomenal job. I don't think I could possibly do what they do. There's a huge amount of commitment there, and I applaud every one of them that does that. So thank you for keeping us safe. Back onto the topic, obviously we're on about the day. That's it, really. Is it
Yeah.
money that you want, or is it lifestyle that you want?
I think
Either it's going to cost, though, isn't it, to get that level of success, whether it's your time or whether
yeah.
it's a financial input that you have to make.
There's always going to be a cost, whether it's financial or whether it's time. And I think it's important that people realise that, because people don't value their own time. And the story you just come out with there about using yourself as an example, um, again, is very valuable. I mean, from my point of view, obviously I'm a specialist life coach working with small business owners, and the reason that my business took that turn, I never used to be. I used to coach anybody who walked through the door, But what I found was about 80% of the people who were coming through the door were small business owners who had life balance issues. So I went where the market was, you know. Best decision I ever made, because small business owners want that level of success, and they're already motivated. A lot of them are motivated by the wrong things, which is why the life balance thing comes up. But that motivation is very easily directed, so I enjoy that work. But just to say, your case, Steve, is not an isolated case. It's extremely common, particularly in self-employment and entrepreneurship. People just become these workaholics who turn round after a few years. They start getting burned out, or start turning around and saying, I've been working for 5 years on turning my life around and becoming successful, and they turn around and go, well, I'm living in a big house, but I'm on my own. And
Yeah.
the number of how can I put this politely? It tends to be the male clients who turn up and say, I got into this because women like a successful bloke, and I'd always
Oh,
been.
no, put my hand back down now. Sorry.
I was going to say, but it is a motivation. I mean, not to get off topic, but sex is a prime motivation in humans, particularly in the male species. Women can more or less lock that off if they need to, but particularly with the male of the species, they say, how do I get this relationship? Because they're scared stiff of getting it on their own merit. So they go, they see all the things on the telly. Women like fast cars. I've got to get a fast car. How do I do that? Well, I've got to go out and work all the hours God sends. And what they don't realise is, yeah, they'll get the fast car and everything, but they'll also turn into this workaholic person that nobody actually wants to speak to. So they get to the stage where they go, I've got everything I needed except the thing that I'm doing it for. And I
You
don't
could end up
understand.
attracting, the nice ladies sort of thing, but there might not be a nice lady.
Mm.
There might
That
not
was
be
very well put. That was Steve.
they might not have the personality that you connect with, and they connect with you.
Yeah,
So you might be wasting more time and wasting more money, which is something which I help people not to do when it comes to advertising marketing, not
yeah,
necessarily in the personal agenda. But
yeah,
you can then attract different people for
yeah,
maybe they're not the right reasons, unless of course you're just out there wanting to be, just have a bit of fun initially, bit of a player or whatever, I mean, I was very fortunate. I'd already, gone through the commitment of having you know, uh,
I
a
was going to say,
companion.
oh, thank goodness, I was just thinking to myself, where's this going?
Yeah, I could see that road as well, John. Yeah, I could. So yeah, I mean, I'd got married, well before I started my first business, so I didn't have. It was my choice to set my own company up to create success for the people around me,
Yeah,
as I've alluded to already. Didn't quite go to plan in the end, because I became attached more to the business than the business could cope if I wasn't there.
yeah,
And the time that I was spending in the business, as was my business partner and very good friend today. I mean, he was putting in a serious amount of time,
yeah,
certainly in the latter part of the business, because I was traveling all over the place, I actually burnt myself out really badly. So I had to go to the doctors, then I had to go to the hospital. And unfortunately, it actually happened on my wife's birthday. We met at
oh,
my mother-in-law's house, and my business partner turned up at the house as well, and we were stood outside. I wasn't feeling too good, so we went and very casually, let's go and have a chat outside, and slide away when really I was feeling quite ill. And literally it was, I don't know if anybody's ever had the feeling, just slightly off topic,
no,
if
no, because
everybody's
it's
had the
still a
feeling
cost.
where if they've either, if when you eat an apple and you can
Mm,
feel all the juice in the apple collecting at the back of your throat, or if you have, I don't know, for people that might drink lager, it's very bubbly and gassy, and then when you, bit gross now, but when you come to burp, it all sounds like that frothy
mm,
sort of noise in the back of your throat, but you can feel all the frothings from the head of the lager from all the bubbles in the back of your throat. It was like that, but there was like a line across just below my chest where nothing could get through, and it was all just building up from there and there. And it was blocking
right.
up all here, and nothing would get through. And I said to my business partner, I said, do you know what? I don't feel too good.
Mm,
And he went, are you sure? And when I said those words, which I don't hardly ever say, due to something that happened to me when I was a child, uh, I said, I need to go to the hospital now. And
mm,
for me to say those words is unheard of. I do not do
right.
hospitals. I think they do a phenomenal job, but because of something that happened to me when I was a child, I just hate
Mm,
hospitals. For
right.
me to actually turn around and say, I'm going to take myself to the hospital right now, and we did. My wife's
Mm,
birthday, and went back in the house. I says, "You need to come with me." She says, "Why? Where we go? We've got to go now. I need to go to the hospital."
mm,
And literally, we just left, and everybody was like, "What's going on?" And yeah, I got there, and then it got a bit scary actually because I went in and told them what I was there for, and there was other people already there. They must have thought I was a proper git, because when I explained why I was there, within a couple of minutes they called me through in front of everybody else, and I felt a little bit guilty for that, to be honest. But then it got nervous purely because they did an assessment of me very quickly, and within like 5 minutes a doctor turned up. He says, we're off into this private room over here, now we're going to be taking your bloods. And I said, okay, now I'm getting a bit nervous. And then
mm,
when they took the bloods, I says, when do you want me to come back in for the results? He says, no, we'll have these results back in no time. They're off straight to the lab.
right.
I'm going to come straight back. You sit where you are for about 10, 15 minutes. And it took about 30 minutes as it was.
Mm,
And that suddenly was a wake up call for me, because there was the doctors and nurses, and they were taking blood, they were taking pressures, there was lights in my eyes and my ears, up my nose, not. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a second.
yeah.
And what I didn't realise what was happening was they were making sure my body wasn't actually shutting down.
Mm,
They were testing my liver, my kidney, my pancreas, all the rest of my blood cell counts, red and white cell counts. They were really concerned that I was literally switching down. I
mm,
didn't realise that. But that's where I got to in life. I pushed myself that much for success. I put everybody else first and not myself. And there might be some people watching this that are going, that guy's out for himself. He always is. He's always talking. He's always thinking of himself. That's how far I push myself for other people. So for those that think that I am a selfish person, take that on board. Make of it what you will. I'm not doing it to be dramatic. I'm just sharing a very personal experience as to what I've done and what's happened to me and how far I was prepared to push things. But as I said before, John, I didn't realise just how much damage I was doing to myself.
Yeah. Well,
so for people that are going, I'm going to work I'm going to work really hard, nearly small, and to hell with the consequences. It's not going to happen to me. I thought that. I am still a bit of a workaholic, but I pace myself now, and I know the importance of. Yeah. My wife will disagree with this. The importance of knowing when to stop and switch the computer off, or stop being on social media on my mobile phone, because these devices are brilliant. But the downside is they're just there, and you can make a little post on LinkedIn or put something out there in Facebook and Twitter world, and things like that, and upload videos on YouTube and code it back to your website, and you get this idea.
Yeah.
So not good at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're filming laid back in bed saying, I've got an idea about advertising. That doesn't go down very well. I don't do that, I'm joking.
Not quite sure what products would be, but
But you get the I don't do that, honestly. No, I don't. But I'm trying to make light out, obviously, of a very deep thing I was talking about there. So I'm trying to bring it up a little bit. I do this just to turn it around, otherwise I get really bogged down and emotional down it. But, people aren't bothered watching my emotional disaster.
It's another kind of price that you pay, and
absolutely,
like you say, you come to a point where you say, this ain't worth paying. Because it's not giving me what I want. And the thing about the human body is you can kick the human body around for years and years and years. It's like people who drink too much or take drugs or smoke.
I think there's another one.
Yeah, they'll say
you have to stop after so long.
They'll go for
stop bruising inside.
They'll go for 25 years and say, I've been smoking for 25 years, and then suddenly their body will go, well, you're not doing it anymore.
Very true.
And they sit there and go, I don't understand. I can't walk down the street anymore. Well, why do you think that is?
The case in point, there was a guy that in my previous life, I actually got to pro technician for Lexus, the motor group. And before that, as I was working my way up as an apprentice, a fully qualified technician, not a fitter. And people know the difference between what a fitter is and a proper actual technician and mechanic. I'm the guy that was stripping things down, cleaning them up, refixing the component parts, and then building it back up again, rather than just going, that's broke, let's get a brand new unit and stick it in, lapping valves in and things like this, and doing shimming and clearances. And people that know proper mechanicking will know. Ball joints on minis, you actually shim the ball joint up and all, it's great. Anyway, another topic.
All just sounds like filth to me.
The point I was making is, just keeping on the topic about what we said about smoking one thing. There's a chap, my protege, if you like, wonderful guy. Anybody that knew, that gives you a clue. Richard Titchener, he used to work for BRS. Got a tip off about some shares, banged all the shares into it. The quadrupled overnight. He became quite a wealthy chap, but he was still very grounded. But he was the guy, all those mechanics and apprentices were turning up on our little mopeds and rust bucket cars. He turned up in a brand new Toyota Supra 3-litre turbo. But he still came to work because he didn't want to sit at home twiddling his thumbs. But he was very active. He smoked and smoked and smoked all day long. But his body oxygenated very well because he did a lot of walking up mountains and down the lanes and one thing and another. And then one day his wife, he didn't come and pick her up from work, so she got the bus, went home, and he was just slouched in the chair and no more. And he ate very healthily. He always used to make his own cheese and tomato sandwiches. And he'd come into work with this big, on top of his toolbox, I've got to share this story, it's hilarious. I know it's off topic, but it's just one of those lovely memories I remember of Dick. And it was a block of cheese, and he'd slice it down. he'd get his bits of bread out, he'd get a whole tomato, and he always did it when Our Tune was on Radio 1. And he'd slice the tomato down and he'd make this. I mean, this guy had lots of money, but it didn't affect the fact he was very grounded. And it was, if I want to make myself a sandwich, I'll make myself a sandwich. Why do I want to go and spend 3 times, 4 times the amount of money for someone to do it for me? I want to make a sandwich. I want to have the right thickness of cheese and tomato that I want. Yeah. He wanted choice still. He wasn't prepared to pay more money for convenience. He wanted choice, and he would still invest his time to get what he wants. So there is actually an important point coming through here. Hopefully people realise this. And I mean, obviously it's gone 2 different directions here. One was he was smoking. He was a very healthy guy, even though he smoked. And then one day his body went no more, and that was it. The other angle of got all the money, but it was through investment, which was risky, but it paid off. But then he still wanted choices. So yes, he had the money and he could do what he wanted to do, but he still wanted to have control, which is something that you'd mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that he wanted to actually have a choice how he wanted his sandwich making, how much filling he wanted in his sandwich. I know it might people that's just tuned into this now or just put the slider across in the video to move further through to see if there's going to be anything exciting happening here. I'm not going to get my nipples out, so no. But the basic that's got everybody's attention now. We can title this "The Nipple Man." I bet we get more views on YouTube. Anyway.
Oh my word.
Yes. Well, people that have watched the previous episodes will know another secret about me, and we're not going to say what it is, John. We want people to watch all the other episodes and then comment below this one. Which episode was it, and what was my secret? As you can see, I'm wearing a lovely shirt. There's a secret. There's a clue.
Viewers may be interested to hear that Stephen has had a haircut this week.
Oh yes, what do you think? I've come to the terms with I'm sick of being a comb over boy.
You look a bit less Arthur Scargill with that haircut. It's pretty good.
Now I'm not going to make any comment because I don't want to lose certain votes for people watching the video.
Everybody hates Arthur Scargill, even if you've never heard of it.
Just so everybody that's watching this knows that John actually any comments that he makes are completely on his own. I have no. So have you seen on like I know we're going off topic again. I do apologise everybody, but it's good fun. This is what John and I usually do, and we decided before we did the first episode we're having these chats. Why don't we just film it? So you're getting the content for free for crying out loud. Use the bits to your benefit, and all this stuff where they've gone off on one again. Just go put the kettle on at this point. That's a good idea. That's why we have water on tap. So where else would you get water from? Let's just stand outside. It's raining. I've really gone off topic now. I forgot what I was going to say.
I'll just reel him back in.
I've completely forgot where I was going with that now.
I just compared you to Arthur Scargill, if that helps.
With the haircut?
Yeah.
I can't remember now. I'll watch this back when it's been together and put up on iTunes. There's another plug. You can get this on iTunes, everybody, completely free of charge. So you can listen to, if you really want to, you can listen to this wherever and whenever it suits you.
Well, let's bring this back with another quick question for you then, Steve.
Yeah, let's, because that's gone completely left field. In fact, that's over the field and down the meadow.
Assuming that there is a cost to success and that success costs some kind of money, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is the cost of not going for it in the first place compared to that?
Regret.
Mm-hmm. What about financial cost?
Okay, so sorry, I was going down the personal thought process as opposed to the financial.
There's all that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I stick with the lifestyle side of things first, then we can move to financial. That's okay.
Okay.
It's like I said, the regret. Oh, what if? I was at a seminar. It's quite interesting. Actually. I was at a seminar in Bradford on Saturday. It was a massive event. There was over 2,000 people in the room, and there was a guest speaker up. Now this chap, he's on I believe in excess of like 20 grand a month.
Right.
He's got a very nice car. He's got a nice house. He's got a nice lifestyle, quality of life. But he's a very grounded guy, very motivational guy. And something which he said on stage will answer what you've just said, I guess, to a certain point. And he was saying, sorry?
Who was that?
A chap called Stephen Longworth, Steph Longworth to his friends. I'm not known as a personal friend of his, but I am actually going to see him in a very, very private. What do they call it when it's a very, very, very small collective of people in a room, like in a.
Um,
You know when these pop stars put on these intimate. That was the word, intimate. So dead excited. I worked that one out. Don't know what the giggle was about, but anyway. So yeah, very intimate meeting. There's probably going to be about 20, 30 people in this room.
right.
And this Steph Longworth guy is actually coming to speak to us and give us some tips and ideas and one thing and another. Well, on Saturday when I went to see him in Bradford, along with all the other 2,000 plus people, he said, "Don't quit.
Mm.
This is, if you don't do something, to answer your question, if you don't go for success, don't quit. If you've had that burning ambition or desire or feeling that I want to do something for myself, I'm sick of being dictated to what time I have to get up in the morning, what time I need to be at work for, when I can take my lunch break." We do talk before these video clips, and John
We
shared a
do
little something with.
very
uh,
briefly today because I was late.
yeah. When can you have your holidays? How many days holiday can you have? How much money am we going to pay you for your time? The trading hours for dollars, the American term, if you like. Well, this lady it was. I'm not going to name any names because I don't know the lady personally, and to be honest, I can't remember her name anyway. Is the truth of the matter. That she was going to get involved with a type of business.
Mm.
And Steph was someone that was going to encourage her and help her. And he was going to, mentor her and motivate her and keep her on track and support her and work her through as she built her own business that she was deciding to do. And it was never quit, never quit, never quit. Don't listen to the dream stealers, your friends at the pub or something or whatever. Oh, you're doing what? Oh, that's a load of rubbish. What are you messing around wasting time doing that for? No, we're meant to be here doing this.
Yeah.
Don't let the dream stealers take that away from you. And don't ever quit. Now, this woman actually quit. She
Right.
listened to the dream stealers. She got bogged down. She lost the drive and ambition and the focus to carry on. And she didn't push through that pain barrier of the rejection, the hardship in the early days of starting a business. And you'll come across this a lot, I'm sure, John, with you
Oh, yeah.
saying startups and small businesses. I work with startup small businesses. With working for the Prince's Trust as a business mentor, I see people right from the initial concept, once they've gone through a couple of the stages that need to do to get to where I would give my mentoring service. You see them right at the start, very embryonic business, just starting out, not much money. And there's a lot of emotional problems to go through there and overcome. And this woman, she couldn't quite, I don't know quite how long she was in the business for, but not long enough to really get past that initial point where, I'm seeing the results now. And now I see why I've gone through all that pain to begin with, because now the success is coming. And Steph turned around. If she'd have still been in that business that she started just a few years ago, if she'd have still been in it when he spoke on Saturday on stage in Bradford, I believe he said that she would be earning over £50,000 a year.
Right.
Now, granted,
Yeah.
he's on, I'm guessing, guessing. I don't know. And apologies if I get this wrong. If Steph sees this, or everybody that knows Steph Longwood sees it and goes, he's quoting wrong, I apologize if I quote it wrong, but I'm sure it's somewhere in excess of 20,000 or thereabouts. It's still not a bad wage a month.
No.
But he's put the work in. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this guy obviously, he's done a lot of hard work. He's put the time in it, given it lip service, learnt his business, and he's now sharing his knowledge with other people, which I think is a phenomenal gift to be able to give people.
It is.
And he said it was a shame because this woman quit, the dream stealers didn't help, and she's missed out now on a lifestyle of £50,000 thereabouts a year coming in.
You just mentioned something else there, which is really important.
And sorry, John, can I just say, if
Sorry.
anybody does know Steph and to share this video with Steph, thank you for Saturday, Steph. I know you were the last guest speaker on the day. Brilliant for every guest speaker there, but you are brilliant. And I look forward to seeing you at Paul Robinson's event on the Tuesday.
Fantastic.
Sold off. I'll tell him this is on as well, so he's aware of it. Actually, I think just to be right with Steph.
the interesting thing that you brought up there, and I think we've covered this in previous episodes, but just to go over it again, is the fact that actually your worst enemies when you try and make any kind of change in life, but particularly when you try and make a financial change or a business change, your worst enemy is your loved ones, your friends and your family. Because as soon as you start to step out of what they expect for you, you get that, can you cope? Is it right for you? You shouldn't be doing that. Like you just said there, well, that's not what people like us do,
No,
you know. And so you have to be prepared for that because there's a possible cost attached to it, and the cost is in your relationships. Because the reason people do that is because they're comfortable with the person you were, and they're comfortable, and they're uncomfortable with the person that they are. Because they're uncomfortable with their own limitations, and when they see you breaking your limitations, it takes away their excuse.
absolutely.
Now, when that happens, those people may not be able to reconcile that, and your relationships with those people will change. Now, if that's someone you've known for a long time, if that's a family member, that could be potentially quite painful, and that's why people listen to these people because they don't want to lose those relationships. So, as early as possible, you need to get your head around the fact that those relationships are going to change, that you're going to get that kind of feedback, and say to yourself, how am I going to respond to it? How am I going to respond to it so that I can keep those relationships as best I can, but that kind of negative feedback, which is completely unjustified, isn't going to affect my decisions. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You've hit the nail on the head there, John. I don't think we can really add much more to this topic today from what we have done. I think we've covered the primary bases.
Yeah.
It's a case of value your time.
Yeah.
Some levels of success will need a financial input.
Yes.
Not always the more financial input you make, the quicker the success. Some cases that will be a yes, some will be a no. Be prepared for change. I put a post on a Facebook page actually about change, and basically, life doesn't have a remote. You have to get up and make the change
Yeah.
yourself.
Very good. I like that one.
Back to the no free lunch scenario.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a great quote from I'm not sure, but I think it was from Jack Welch. It's from around the time I was at GE anyway, and he said there are two.
That was an endorsement.
He was there was two bits of advice. He said that the two things I've learned in life, and this relates to you as well, Steve. First bit, there's no such thing as a free lunch. In fact, the way he put it was, free advice is worth exactly what you paid for it. And number two, $100 haircut is worth $100.
If you think you're right, you're right. If you think you're wrong, you're right.
Absolutely.
Same kind of analogy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah. There you go.
Fantastic. Well, I think that probably wraps this episode up, though. Certainly the topic in this episode. John, would you say, or is there anything else that you feel that can add value for people sticking around a bit longer?
No, I think we've like you say, we've covered basically the basics. Something that came out of this was time management, which I think we're going to add on as a topic later on, because we can talk quite a lot about that, I think. And it just leaves me then to say thanks again for joining us, and thank you, Steve, for your time.
No problem at all. Next topic, I believe that we're going to be discussing is building a mastermind. What's the difference?
Sounds good.
Yep. As what we've got earmarked anyway for the next one. Whether that's
Sounds good.
Exactly the case, I don't know. But I can actually just mention to people watching this episode now a little bit of an insight. I was speaking with another business professional previous week.
You've not been cheating on me, have you, Steve?
We're gonna. This is gonna sound awful. We're gonna have a threesome, and there's a gentleman which I've known
intimately?
for. A gent. I'm not even gonna rise to it. Oh, there we go. Right. Disgusting. Sorry. Huge apologies. I know. Yes. I've just lost half the audience, so now we're down to one.
He says huge apologies.
Right then, just apologies. So and that person has agreed that they will come and actually participate in one of the topics for discussion.
Fantastic.
So we're going to get another person coming on board just for that one. It's like a special guest appearance, if you like. Very excited about that person coming on board because I've known them for about a year and a half or so now. They are very switched on, very straight talking, but help
Brilliant.
many businesses of all shapes and sizes to spot opportunities to make their current business situation better
Brilliant.
by making tweaks and changes. So I'm really looking for that. So we'll keep you posted on that as and when that topic's going to be discussed, I think, in future episodes, John. So, but
Excellent.
yes, thanks for everybody that's taking the time to watch the video. As always, we really appreciate it. If you haven't seen any of the previous ones because you've only just come across this video, please do have a look at the other episodes that John and I have put together for you. And please leave us your comments. Hit the like button if you found it useful. If you agree with anything that we said, if you didn't agree with what we've discussed in this and previous episodes, jot down what your feelings are and what your thoughts are. And
Absolutely.
also, we always encourage people to give us, some topics to discuss that you guys want to hear about. And don't forget to give it a share as well. So quite a few things I've asked there, but always
Yeah.
do because we want to, share this information, which is it's a free resource for anybody, and we feel not every time, but there might be some small little golden nuggets hiding there that you can go, light bulb moment.
Absolutely.
I connect with that, and I can see how that can be applied.
Absolutely. The idea behind these is really just to get you thinking and to move your thought processes along. So get yourselves to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Business Growth Weekly. Check out the other videos if you haven't already done so. Leave us some feedback. Ask us some questions. We're always on there. We want to answer your questions. It's a two-way street. And the more feedback we get, the more we can incorporate them into these videos.
It's like a weekly brainstorm session, really, isn't it?
It is. It is. Or a thought
So,
shower. Or whatever.
absolutely.
I don't know.
So there we go.
Brilliant. Well, thanks again for watching. And thanks again, Steve, for your time.
No problem, John.
And
Anytime.
we'll see you next week.
Okay, take care.